all rise? This honorable court is open pursuant to adjournment. The Honorable Patricia A. Gaughan, Chief Judge, United States District Court for the Northern District of Ohio, presiding. Please be seated for the introduction of the court. For the United States District Court for the Northern District of Ohio, the Honorable Solomon Oliver, Jr. The Honorable Donald C. Nugent. The Honorable James S. Gwynn. The Honorable Dan Aaron Polster. The Honorable Pamela A. Barker. The Honorable J. Philip Calabrese. The Honorable Charles S. Fleming. The Honorable Bridget Meehan Brennan. The Honorable Thomas M. Parker, Magistrate Judge. The Honorable Jonathan D. Greenberg, Magistrate Judge. The Honorable Amanda M. Knapp, Magistrate Judge. The Honorable James E. Grimes, Jr., Magistrate Judge. For the United States Bankruptcy Court for the Northern District of Ohio, the Honorable Arthur I. Harris. The Honorable Alan M. Koshik. The Honorable Tiara N. A. Patton. For the 8th District Court of Appeals, the Honorable Anita Laster Mays, Administrative Judge. The Honorable Michael John Ryan. For the Cuyahoga County Court of Common Pleas, the Honorable Brendan J. Sheehan, Administrative and Presiding Judge. The Honorable Dina R. Calabrese. The Honorable Cassandra Collier Williams. The Honorable Nancy A. First. The Honorable Stephen E. Gall. The Honorable Shannon M. Gallagher. The Honorable Kevin Kelly. The Honorable David T. Mattia. The Honorable William T. McGinty. The Honorable John J. Russo. The Honorable Deborah M. Turner. For the Cuyahoga County Domestic Relations Court, the Honorable Leslie Ann Celebrezzi, Administrative Judge. The Honorable Francine B. Goldberg. The Honorable Diane M. Palis. For the Cuyahoga County Juvenile Court, the Honorable Nicholas J. Celebrezzi. For the Cuyahoga County Probate Court, the Honorable Laura J. Gallagher. For the Bedford Municipal Court, the Honorable Michelle L. Paris. For the Cleveland Municipal Court, the Honorable Michael L. Nelson Sr. The Honorable Charles L. Patton Jr. The Honorable Susan Marie Sweeney. For the Cleveland Housing Court, the Honorable W. Monet Scott, Administrative Judge. For the Cleveland Heights Municipal Court, the Honorable J.J. Costello. For the Lakewood Municipal Court, the Honorable Tess Neff. For the Rocky River Municipal Court, the Honorable Donna Congeni Fitzsimmons, Presiding and Administrative Judge. For the Shaker Heights Municipal Court, the Honorable Ann Walton Keller.
Please be seated, everyone. And good afternoon. It is indeed an honor to preside over this annual Bench Bar Memorial Program, and I welcome all of you here today on behalf of all of my colleagues at the United States District Court, my colleagues at the state, county, and municipal courts. And I welcome you here today on behalf of the leadership of all of our bar associations. If you would please allow me to begin by addressing the family members who are in attendance today. You know, folks, it seems so inadequate to say that we extend our condolences to you. But you know, sometimes words are all we have. So I say to you, we extend to you our heartfelt and our deepest sympathy at your loss. And we hope that in some small way, this ceremony will bring you some comfort. Every single year, I experience the same emotion as this day draws near. This is such an important event, but frankly, it is also a very difficult event. We remember our colleagues, our friends, our family members. We are reminded of their laughter, their warmth, their stories, their kindness, and their greatness. But may I suggest that we do more than remember today. Today is about a celebration. Let's celebrate their accomplishments, their achievements, their dedication. Let's celebrate their contributions to this very noble profession. In that spirit, I now call on the president of the Cleveland Metropolitan Bar Association, Adrian D. Thompson.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Judge. Members of the judiciary, fellow members of the Cleveland Metropolitan Bar Association, and honored guests. I'm really humbled today by the opportunity to pause with you and reflect and celebrate and remember our friends, family, and colleagues who passed on during the last year. As I reviewed the biographies of 53 remarkable individuals being honored today, I could not help but reflect on how long the list is and on how many of the names are familiar to me. As legal professionals, each person remembered today made the world around them a better place. For some, that meant advocating for clients' positions and helping them achieve justice. For others, it meant deciding what justice is and what justice should be. Among those we lost are jurists, civil litigators, criminal defense lawyers, prosecutors, deal makers, estate planners, law firm founders, general counsel, military veterans, animal advocates, philanthropists, musicians, a CPA, a meteorologist, a recipient of the United States Secretary of Defense Medal for Meritorious Civil Service, a former Speaker of the Ohio House of Representatives, and the past president of the Cleveland Bar Association. They were husbands, wives, fathers, mothers, sons and daughters, aunts and uncles, brothers and sisters, friends and partners. 14 of those who we remember and celebrate were fortunate to live in their 90s. On the opposite end of the spectrum, one was taken far, far too soon in her early 30s, just as her career, her role as a wife and a mother were getting started. No matter the number of years they lived on this earth, all of our honorees were loved and were loved. They made lasting impacts in their lives and the lives of many, altering our souls and leaving us all far better off for having had the opportunity to know them and to love them. They leave behind tremendous legacies of professional excellence and community service. Although I knew more than a few of the honorees and could talk at length about them, I want to tell you about one individual who had a significant impact on me as a man and as a lawyer. I met Harold Williams as a new lawyer when I joined the Cleveland Legal Aid Society in 1986. Harold was my mentor, my champion, and friend, and served as my older brother, always making certain that I followed the correct path. He was a brilliant legal mind, an authentic voice, always advocating for those who needed a path to access justice. I know each of our honorees today likely impacted someone the way Harold did me. I encourage all of you to share your own stories in the days ahead and celebrate those. Paying tribute to those we've lost keeps them alive in our hearts and minds. Those memories help us remember what is truly important in life. I offer my thanks to Judge Gaughan for officiating this event today, for the Northern District's partnership with the CMBA for so many years. I also want to thank all of our presenters today, including my friend, Dr. Reverend Stephen Rowan. I also want to thank this impressive collection of judges and jurists for taking time today to help us reflect on our honorees, our profession, and our community. Finally, I want to offer my thanks and appreciation to the CMBA's team of professionals. Chief among them, Special Events Manager Caitlin Peterson, for their efforts organizing today's event. Thank you.
We will now hear from the Honorable Anita Laster-Mays, Administrative and Presiding Judge of the 8th District Court of Appeals.
Thank you, Judge. And good afternoon. Again, my name is Anita Laster-Mays, and I am the Administrative Presiding Judge of the Ohio 8th District Court of Appeals. Whenever I think of individuals that have gone home, it reminds me of something that my late father used to say. He used to always say that it's better to be seen than to be viewed. When I was young, I didn't understand that, but I really understand it now. He also used to say that it's a time for everything. That takes me to Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verses 1 through 8, but I will only state the first two, which reads, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. For each of these esteemed legal minds, their season, as it relates to the law, was the time when they advocated for their clients or oversaw hearings in a just manner. And their purpose was to ensure that individual rights were protected, the options were explained, and intelligent choices were made. We are saddened that the Lord looked in his book and called their numbers, but we rejoice in knowing all of their lives, all the lives that were touched by their presence and their purpose. We can be selfish at times, and we want them to stay with us forever. We feel that, of course, our loved ones belong to us, but therefore, as we celebrate and acknowledge them today, remember nothing belongs to us. Even the air we breathe must be exhaled. On behalf of the 8th District Court of Appeals, I wish you comfort and blessings upon the passing of your loved ones. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. The Honorable Charles L. Patton, Jr., Judge of the Cleveland Municipal Court.
Good morning, friends. We are here to celebrate some very important people who made contributions in our community and remember those contributions. I looked through the program today and saw too many people that I knew. They gave me some advice over the years. Talking is important. Sharing is important. Learning is important. I want to point out one person in particular today, not recognize everybody else in this book. But Judge Montgomery and I would see each other when we took our children to kindergarten, elementary school, and walk over to the rapid and go out of town and go to work, or to go back home. And we had that friendship that's still there. And we feel that way about so many people who have left us this year. There are many common strains among us attorneys, among us judges, among our families. And on May Day, recognizing their memories is significant. Whether those common strains are music, community needs, justice, raising our families, those memories stay with us. Thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing us to celebrate the lives of your family members. And may we continue to help some young attorneys coming up to understand that this is a great profession. And it means a lot. Thank you, judges.
And now we will hear from the Honorable Brendan J. Sheehan, Administrative and Presiding Judge of the Cuyahoga County Common Pleas Court.
Thank you, Judge Gahn. One of the greatest honors of being the presiding and administrative judge of the Common Pleas Court is to participate in the Greater Cleveland Bench Bar Memorial. This event allows us to recognize the impact of judges and lawyers in our community who we lost this past year, and to share collective memories. I really just want to thank the CMBA for hosting this event each year. On behalf of the 34 judges of the Common Police Court and the families of those we honor here today, I thank you for sharing your loved ones in a lifetime of legal service. People often say, even though Cleveland has a thriving legal community, it feels small. In reality, the legal community is more like an extended family. Today is an opportunity to look back on the past year and honor those from our family who are no longer with us. I want to bring special attention to a few people on this honoree list whose impact on the general division was great. Judge Ann McMahon, who served 6 years on our bench, starting back in 1977. A true servant to the legal community, Judge McMahon also served in Cleveland Municipal Court and the 8th District Court of Appeals. Judge Cheryl Carner, and if she was here, I'd say Cheryl with a C, Carner with a K. Her service in domestic relations courts for over 28 years. During that time, she served in so many different capacities, sharing all her domestic relations expertise. And you heard from Judge Patton, our own KJ Montgomery. She worked with our court for many years, both in the mental health, starting the mental health docket, and then helping us out on our domestic violence task force. Her contributions to the legal community is going to be missed greatly. Then we have attorneys, Vicki Lynn Ward and Al Giuliani, who served in our court as defense attorneys. Both of them also took cases by appointment to represent those in our community most in need. As a judge and as a prosecutor, I had the opportunity to be in the courtroom with them, and they were both very worthy adversaries. As a personal injury attorney, Jeff Friedman fought vigorously for his clients in our courts. When he wasn't in the courtroom, he was serving his legal community of University Heights both as a council member and a vice mayor for over 30 years. And finally, on a personal note, the Cleveland Irish community shares the loss of Tom Scanlon. Mr. Scanlon founded the Irish American Law Society of Cleveland. And each year, we all know he had the best party, that St. Patrick's Day party. I could share something about nearly every person on that list. Instead, I will say, until we meet again, may God hold you in the hollow of his hand.
In keeping with our tradition, we will now have the recognition of our decedents by Judge Leslie Ann Celebrezzi, Judge Laura J. Gallagher, Judge Amanda M. Knapp, Judge John J. Russo, Mr. Delonte Spencer Thomas, and Ms. Rebecca Rupert McMahon.
Ronald Allen Appelt, Malvin E. Bank, James Francis Bell, Catherine Blackham, Gary A. Vancella, J. Donald Carnes, Frederick J. Condon, Robert P. Ducatman, and Jerome M. Ellerin.
John J. Filek, Henry B. Fisher, Arthur F. Foth, Jeffrey H. Friedman, Fred W. Friend, Albert Angelo Giuliani, William M. Goldstein, Raymond S. Gruss, William T. Guarnieri.
Daniel Hammer, John F. Herrick, Alan N. Hirth, Harold Lee Holm, the Honorable Cheryl S. Carner, Lisa R. Kramer, Brian Krantz, John Lancione, and Alvin Ripple.
Daniel Loretta, Ernest P. Mansour, John Francis McClatchy, the Honorable Ann McManaman, the Honorable K.J. Montgomery, the Honorable Gustavo Nunez, the Honorable David Perlman, Gerald M. Porter, Thomas Joseph Scanlon.
James Gene Snyder, John Joseph Sheehan Jr., David Allen Snow, Emil Frank Sos Jr., Susan P. Stolberg, Kenneth Stephen Stumphauser, Ronald C. Swinky, Richard C. Talbert, Jeffrey L. Task.
Brian Thompson, I. Iggy Bernard Trombetta, Edmund John Turk, Jack Turoth, Paul C. Wagner, Vicki Lynn Ward Oliver, Alyssa Jean Wheeler Keene, and Harold L. Williams.
It is now my privilege to call on Reverend Dr. Stephen Rowan, pastor of the Bethany Baptist Church, for some reflections.
Thank you, Judge Gunn, Adrian, members of the judiciary, some of whom I've known over the years, mentored me and gone to high school with me, Brother Nelson and others. It's a pleasure to be here today. And to the family, most importantly. We've come today to just give some reflections, and all the things that have been said, I echo them to you today. because we're talking about difference makers, people that have made a difference in the lives of so many, including myself, as I see some of the persons up here, what I saw that Caitlin sent me the other day with some of my former partners at Armour and Burn. And so there's a scripture found in the book of Matthew. It's this 22nd chapter in the New Testament of the Bible, which says, it's the Pharisees encountering Jesus and saying, what's the greatest commandment? And Jesus said, to love your Lord, your God, with all your heart, your soul, and your mind. But Jesus went on to say there's another commandment. The second greatest commandment is to love your neighbor as yourself. For a few moments, let me just reflect on the fact we're talking about lawyers who loved. Jackson Browne had a big song about 40 years ago, had an album out called Lawyers in Love. But I want to talk about lawyers who love, because we're talking today about difference makers. And I was reflecting on some of the people that I know, and coming here today, Judge Gahn, it kind of filled me with some emotion because I had so many good relationships with some of the people that I have seen over the 40 years that I've been in the practice. But I thought about this show that I watched a few years back, and I watched it for several years. It was called Suits. It was about a New York law firm. Some of you are familiar with it. The characters were Harvey and Michael and Rachel and Donna and Lewis. And there was this Manhattan firm, and it talked about their ups and downs and turnarounds and trials and tribulations, but also their triumphs. And when I look at lawyers these days, I always think of us in and out of court, in our business negotiations, coming before you, dealing with our clients, wearing suits. But there's something to those suits. And if I can, let me use the acronym, SUITS, to say yes, that S stands for strength. The strength that your loved ones have had to practice law. The strength that they have had to love others in such a way that they would also sacrifice and take time away from our families and all the things that lawyers do. Then there's that you, what's underneath these suits that we wear, that unseen part of being a father, being a spouse, being a brother, a sister, a grandfather, a grandmother, a cousin, uncle, or a friend and auntie, all of these things that are underneath these suits that we wear. Yes, suits convey confidence, they convey authority and all those kinds of things, but underneath those suits are persons who love and who care about others. Lawyers get a bad rap in so many ways. People make jokes about it. They say all kind of negative things. But let me tell you something. I know lawyers love this work. We love the people we represent, and we do it to the best of the ability that God has given us. And then there's the I in the word suit that stands for the intellect, the reasoning that we have to use to do the things that we do as lawyers. And you have watched your loved ones leave out of the house on a regular basis before they left this earth to use that intellect and that reasoning. And I'm sure some of you have seen them use that reasoning on the home front as well, to lead our families forward, to be that person on that holiday where we all gather for Thanksgiving, but there's always that person that has a few legal questions for one of us. And we deal with that because of our intellect and have the God-given ability that we have because of the study that we do. And then the T stands for trust. That trust. We don't have clients without trust. We don't have relationships with our colleagues without trust. We're not able to do what we do without trust. I trust when I have to represent one of my parishioners before you as judges, not as their attorney, but as someone coming for justice and mercy, that I can trust that you will make a decision based on the facts and show mercy. Brothers and sisters, let me tell you something. This is not an easy way, and your family has not had an easy way to have a lawyer in your midst and sometimes take so much of their time to just help others and to show the love of God for them. And last but not least, that S, that final S in suits, stands for stamina. Any of us who've been through the bar exam know what it takes. You gotta have some stamina. You gotta study. I've never been in a test that took 3 days. It took everything I had to make it to day 3, particularly after the multi-state exam. You have lived with people that have touched your lives in a special way and have been difference makers in this society. Yes, there's something behind those suits that the men and women wear that we call lawyers on this earth, and they are important to us. And so I say, hold tight to the precious memories of your loved ones that have done well. The song says, memories like the corner of my mind. Misty watercolored memories of the way we were. But it also says, could it be all so simple then that time has rewritten every line? And if we had the chance to do it all over again, would we? Could we? Yes, memories are beautiful, but they can be painful at times too when we think of the good times and that one person that we loved is no longer with us. But hold tight to the precious memories and remember also the words of Boyz II Men who said it so well. They said, and we'll take away the memories to be the sunshine after the rain, because it's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. Cherish the life, the love, and the legacy of those who have gone before us and have done so well. Not so much as lawyers in love, because they were in love with you as family, but they are lawyers who loved. God bless you. God keep you.
Wow. That's all I can say is wow. Thank you so much, Reverend Dr. Rowan, for those inspiring and frankly much needed remarks. And I want to thank all of our speakers here today. And I want to thank all of those responsible for this very important event. And finally, thank you. Thank you for being here to celebrate these truly remarkable individuals. And I loved the Reverend's phrase, the difference makers. We are truly humbled by the talent that we have lost. It is now our responsibility to continue their legacy. And as I quote every year for this event, Thomas Campbell once wrote, "To live in hearts we leave behind is not to die." Ladies and gentlemen, it has truly been an honor and a privilege to preside over this ceremony today. And I must add, I do not take this honor and this privilege lightly. With that, the ceremony is officially concluded.
All rise. This honorable court is now adjourned. Please remain standing as the judges process out of the auditorium. We will begin with Chief Judge Gahn and the judges on the dais.